Hi guys, welcome back. This is episode 10 of Magic with Aunty AJ. I'm Aunty AJ, and if you haven't seen our previous videos, do go back and watch them. I think you'll probably enjoy them. So, this episode, we're going to be talking about Aunty AJ's favourite festival. Well, favourite pagan festival, because I am a little bit of a Christmas fiend, but that's not a pagan festival. So today we're going to be talking about Samhain. Now, if you are looking at the slides, you will probably see that the word on your screen looks like it should be pronounced Samhain. Now, I thought it was called Samhain for a very long time because I learnt by reading books. And I read it and nobody ever told me. It was only when I started using the internet that I realised that I had got it wrong. And it's actually pronounced Samhain. So there we go. This holiday is also known as Halloween. Now, you probably know Halloween for trick-or-treaters and pumpkin lanterns and lots of sugary sweets. But today we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the correspondences, the foods, the activities, and we are going to be discussing a goddess. All to do with this festival of Samhain. Now you're probably wondering, Aunty AJ, does Samhain fall at the same time as Halloween? And if you live in the Northern Hemisphere, that would be correct. However, if you live in the Southern Hemisphere, you may choose to celebrate Samhain on the 30th of April, where in the Northern Hemisphere we celebrate it on the 31st of October. That is because Samhain is the last of 3 harvest festivals. This is the final one. So we've got to get all our harvesting in. So we know that it is the 3rd harvest festival. We know that it's pronounced Samhain, and we know when it is celebrated. But did you know it is also the time when the veil between the living world and the other world is at its thinnest? Yeah, so this is a time where we could, if our family is agreeable, talk to maybe our past ancestors. It's when the veil is thin so they can come and talk to us if they want to. And that is why some people choose to celebrate by having an ancestor's supper. So they have their dinner and they lay out extra places with extra food for their ancestors to come and enjoy the spirit of the food with them. I think that's really kind of sweet. So let's get into some correspondences. The colours most associated with this festival are black, orange, purple, silver and gold. Orange like Aunty AJ's new jumper. Flowers most associated with this festival are chrysanthemums. But also we need to think about the colours of the falling leaves. They are almost like flowers at the moment. Herbs we might be using during this festival are sage and mugwort and rosemary. And my sage has really grown. I thought it had died off. I thought it was long gone. But now it's come back. The temperatures have cooled a little bit and it's come back. Foods associated with this festival are pumpkins, apples, nuts, squash, as in like butternut squash and acorn squash, not squash like Ribena. Nuts, I've already said nuts, silly Aunty AJ, corn and turnips. The correspondences, so the things you might use to decorate your home to celebrate this festival or put on your family altar or use in other ways to celebrate this festival, are pumpkins, cauldrons, bonfires, brooms, ancestor altars, lanterns and scarecrows. Now, ancestor altars are a place where you put photos of your past loved ones. So I might put a photo of my granddad and my grandma on there, and then you can leave them things that they liked. So maybe a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or some chocolate, those sorts of things. And it just helps us feel closer to them. It's a nice idea if that's what your family wants to do. So the goddess, there's several gods and goddesses associated with this festival, but today Aunty AJ is going to talk about Hecate. Now, I don't work with Hecate. I don't know an awful lot about her, but when I was researching this, she seemed like the best fit in my mind for this festival. Your family might have another goddess or god that you celebrate at this time of year. But anyway, on to Hecate. She is the Greek goddess of crossroads, the night and the underworld. One of her roles is guiding souls who have passed over, making her an excellent goddess to learn about during Samhain. Maybe you and your family can do a little bit more research about Hecate and her roles at this time of year. That might be a fun activity to do. Anyway, talking of activities, you're probably wondering, Aunty AJ, what can we do to celebrate? Well, you could visit a pumpkin farm. Me and my family did that recently. We love the pumpkin farm. We go there and all the lights are lit and it's really magical. And they have these glowing, like a trail you go through. And there's big light up pictures. And there's like witches and toadstools and frogs. And oh, it's amazing. So you could visit the pumpkin farm. And then obviously you can carve a pumpkin. We're going to be carving pumpkins that I've grown in my garden this year. I've got two. They're about this sort of size. They're not big pumpkins. They're quite small, but I grew them in my garden. I was really excited. So we're going to carve them out, make them into lanterns. You can make a simmer pot, which is where you have your big pot on the stove and you put all your like herbs and spices into it, and it makes your whole house smell good, and you can whisper your intentions into it and they release in the steam. You can visit a loved one's grave or the crematorium garden if their ashes were spread there, and you just spend time feeling like they might be with you. Another thing you can do is take your pumpkin that you've carved after Halloween, take it to the grave or the crematorium garden and leave it there, because the animals like deers and squirrels and hedgehogs and all the wild animals, they have a good nibble on it and they will enjoy it too. It's better than just putting it in the bin. And if you don't have a loved one's passing place to leave it, you can take it into the woods and the deer will eat it. It's a good way of recycling them rather than just popping them in the bin. And finally, you can make decorations. So that's what we are going to do. So I'd like you in a minute to pause the video, and then you need to collect what you need to make. We are going to make foam pumpkin lanterns. So you will need hole punch, pen for marking, a ruler, scissors, pipe cleaners, split pins, and a sheet of orange foam. And of course, it wouldn't be magic with Aunty AJ if we didn't have a cosy drink. I have got, it's spiced berries, like cordial, and you make it with warm water. Oh, It is the best autumn drink ever. So, pause your video, go and get what you need, and I will see you in just a minute. Hey guys, welcome back. So, we've got our orange foam, and we are going to mark it up along. I'm going to mark it up along the bottom first, and we are going to find the side that has centimetres, not millimetres. So centimetres, not millimetres, and we are going to mark 3 marks of 2 centimetres. So to do that, I'm going to put it on the 6 like this, and then I'm going to mark it where 4 is, mark it where 2 is, and mark it where 0 is, and that will give us 3 strips there. And then we're going to move it all the way down to about the middle, and we're going to do the same. We're going to lean it against the 6, and we're going to mark it at 4, at 2, and at 0. And then we're going to turn it round, because Aunty AJ's desk is small. If your desk is bigger, you can work straight down the card. Foam even. And this time I'm going to mark it at 6, 4, and 2, because I'm at the bottom. And then we're going to connect the dots up like this, straight down, and this will give us our strips. So what we're making is one of these. I made one earlier, little pumpkin lantern, and you can sit a battery tea light in there if you wanted to. So that's what we're making. And then, so first I'm going to do from the middle to the bottom, and then I'm going to turn it round, because my desk is small. If you've got a big desk, you can go all the way along straight away. There we go, like that. And then Aunty AJ needs to turn it round. And you can see my lines here, not so easily. And then mark the lines again on the other end of the line, making sure to line them up dot to dot, just like that. There we go. And then we don't need the pen and ruler for a little while. And then we get our scissors, and we are going to cut all the way along our lines. That's one, and I'm just going to put that bit to one side so we've got a bit more room on the desk. And we cut along the line, doing our best cutting. There we go, all the way along, and again, all the way along. And don't worry about if you've got little black pen marks, because what we can do is make sure those are on the inside of the lantern, and then it won't matter. Not that it matters anyway. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get our pieces of foam, and we're going to put them together so they're all lined up like that. And then we're going to fold them in half, roughly, like that. It's not an exact science. And then we'll take our scissors, and we're going to cut. And then suddenly we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of foam. Now we want to make sure when we put the split pin in at the bottom, that the black lines will go on the inside. So we want to put the bottom of the split pin in the side that isn't got little black lines on, hasn't got little black lines on. And then we're going to take our split pin. You might need a grown-up to help you with this bit, you might not. Depends on how dexterous you are and how big you are, and also how much your grown-ups worry. And then we're just going to push that through. It should go through the foam reasonably easily, and then you give it a little squeeze and you pull the ends of the split pin, but don't put them too tight just yet, because we now want to spread the bits of foam out. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we probably want to spread these ones out, the top ones, a little bit more. There we go. Once you've got them looking like how you want them, like a bit of a star shape, can you see a little bit of a star shape? When you are happy with the star shape, that's when you can push the split pin right close like that, so it doesn't move, and that gives you a nice flat inside of your pumpkin. Now we're going to take our hole punch, and we are going to try and line it up so that it's in the middle of the strip of foam, and you want to push it in as far as you can. Oh, that's not very much in the middle. I'm going to try the other hole because it's a little bit higher on this side. Ah, there we go. That's better. So that's about, I think that's about as equal as we're going to get it. There we go. That's better. And then punch. And then pull it out. And I recommend that you give your punch an extra punch, because the foam is thicker than paper and it will get caught. But if you give it an extra punch, it pushes it down into the base. And then we take the next one. We've got to do this with all 6. So like that. Make sure it's as lined up as best you can. And punch. And give it an extra punch. Then move on to the next one. Slide it in. Check it's equal. Punch. Take it out. Give it an extra punch. Just slide it in. Like this. Have a look. Yep. That's equal. And punch. And give it an extra punch. 2 more to go. Slide it in. That's not very equal at all, Aunty AJ. Silly Aunty AJ. There we go. That's a bit better. Maybe. There we go. That's better. And then we punch. And give it an extra punch. And then last one, we slide it in like that. Now we punch, and we give it an extra punch, and then we can put our hole punch off to one side because we don't need that anymore. Now we've got our star shape, and each one of them has got a hole in it. That's really good. And now we're going to take, some people call these chenille stems and some people call them pipe cleaners. And we are going to take one of these, whatever you call them, and we are going to make sort of a knot at the bottom, like this. We kind of want like a lumpy bit. That's probably a bit big, Aunty AJ. Pull it a bit tighter. Yeah, that's better. Because what we want is for the stem, this is going to be our pumpkin stem, to not come through. So we have this little hole in the bottom, this little lumpy bit. And then, now, we're going to turn this upside down. And we're going to have a look. We want this one first. at the bottom one first. And we post, oh, it doesn't want to go through. We post the stem through like that. And it should just nicely lock into place. You might need to give it a little bit of a squidge. So, when you've done that, then you get the next one. The next one underneath on the split pin, and you post it through. You turn it around a little bit and you post the next one through, just like that. See? And then this next one comes through and you post it through. Can you see how the pumpkin shape is starting to form? Can you see that? That's that pumpkin shape starting to form. And then that one, and then one more. And then you sort of give it a bit of a squish and a wiggle to make it all more pumpkin-y shape. And then we're going to make a little bit of stem like this, just like we did underneath, but a bit bigger to make the stem, because then you can hang it up if you so choose. And you're going to then, once you've made a little loop, you're going to wrap it around a little bit, because that secures it in place. Give it another squish. Give it as many squishes as you want until you've got it how you want it. This one's a bit squashy. This one looks a bit more like the pumpkins from my garden than the pumpkins from the supermarket. Then you're going to pick up your pen again. And what we're going to do to make it look like a pumpkin stem is we're going to wind it round, wrap it round, and it makes a little wiggly tail. And then you can just decide where you're going to, there we go, see, like that. And I'm not putting tea lights in mine because I quite like them like that. But you could put a little battery operated tea light in there. I haven't got any right now. I have a real tea light, so I can show you. But don't put a real tea light into your foam pumpkin. Okay, so you have to pretend that this is the battery one. And then you would just put it in there and switch it on. So that's how you would use it as a lantern. But not with a real one. So we have a foam pumpkin. Now, if you can't get craft foam for any reason, if your craft store doesn't have it, or they don't have it in orange, you could do this with paper as well. Exactly the same, but just with paper, and it would be a bit thinner. It wouldn't be as thick. But other than that, it would be exactly the same. So, there's our pumpkins. We've learned about Samhain, and all that's left for me to say is to hope that you have the most wonderful celebration. I hope you've had fun and learned lots with Aunty AJ this time. And hopefully I will see you all in November's episode. See you soon.